You ever have one of those days where you wake up, pour yourself a cup of coffee, and within the hour, someone is standing on your porch, clipboard in hand, ready to tell you how your life doesn't quite fit the mold? Yeah, imagine that, except the someone is the HOA president. She's waving a folder around like it's the Constitution, and she's informing you your old red barn is destroying the soul of the neighborhood. And the kicker? I'm not even in her damn HOA. No joke. I almost spit out my coffee. So there she is, Diane, standing on my porch in her press khakis, hair perfect, Lexus idling in the drive. Your barn needs repainting, she says, like it's some objective fact of nature. We prefer earth tones, beige taupe, soft gray. She's got this look, half smile, half threat. I just stare at her, because what do you even say to that? It's a barn. It's been red since before Eisenhower was in office. But she keeps going undeterred. Our HOA standards require approved color palettes. You're within the community covenant boundary. I just raise an eyebrow. Since when? Since 2016, she replies like that's the end of it. Your property affects our values. Everyone contributes. I told her flat out, my family's had this land since '52. I don't owe her anything except maybe a cold stare and a door closed in her face. She just tightens her smile, sets the packet of architectural guidelines on my railing, and struts back to her car like she's done me a favor. The nerve. I'm not in your HOA. I never signed anything. Hell, I didn't even buy the house. I inherited it after my granddad died. But that was just the start. Here's the thing. When my granddad passed, he left me 15 acres and this tired old farmhouse, perched up on a hill looking over what used to be nothing but fields. Now, the fields are long gone, replaced by rows of cookie-cutter houses, vinyl siding shining in the sun, mailboxes that all match. Meadowbrook Estates, they call it. The barn and the split-rail fence? They've been here longer than most of those homeowners have been alive. I figured I'd fix the place up, bring it back to what it was, my way of keeping a promise to my grandfather. By Monday, I'm repainting the barn. Same red as always. The neighbors slow roll past, windows down, craning their necks like they're watching a wild animal at the zoo. Some wave, most just look confused. 8 days in, Diane shows up. 2 days later, I get a letter, official letterhead, HOA all over it. Notice of violation. Apparently, red barns and split-rail fences are an affront to humanity itself. There's a fine, escalating by the day, and a threat to slap a lien on my place if I don't get in line. I laugh, toss in the trash. A week later, another letter, more fines. Then, a final notice. 10 days to fix everything or they're coming for my property. That's when I call Marcus Webb, my attorney buddy. Can they do this? I ask. Not unless you sign something, he says. Let me dig. So I wait, paint drying on the barn, watching for Diane's Lexus out the window. But before Marcus can call back, Diane returns, this time with backup. 2 board members, one in a polo shirt, the other carrying a tablet like she's about to do a presentation. You're not in compliance, Diane says. I tell her again, I'm not in her HOA. She whips out a document, points at some highlighted line. See? Our boundary includes your land. She's got a covenant filed with the county. Legal language all over it. But something doesn't sit right. My grandfather would never have signed anything like that. Diane insists it doesn't matter. The county approved it. I'm in, and I've got 10 days to repaint, or else. She turns, marches off, board members trailing behind, leaving the document behind like some kind of threat. I call Marcus back, lay it out for him. He says, if your grandfather never signed, it doesn't stick. But let me look deeper. Maybe there's something in how that development was financed. Who owns what? 3 days later, Marcus calls. Turns out, the developer mortgaged the entire common area, the streets, pool, clubhouse, for $12 million. The HOA is supposed to pay $15,000 a month, and if they default, the lender can foreclose on all the common spaces. So they don't really own the neighborhood. I say, not if they can't pay. Marcus does some more digging. Who holds a mortgage now, he wonders. A company called Cascade Holdings bought it a few years ago. My stomach drops. Cascade Holdings is my family's trust. I call my uncle, confirm it. Yeah, we own the mortgage and the HOA is 12 months behind. We were about to start foreclosure proceedings, he says. Why? Because I tell him their president is trying to sue me over a red barn. A few days later, the lien hits. They actually go through with it. I call Marcus. This is invalid, he says. We'll get it tossed. But before that can happen, I get a call from Tom, one of the board members. He sounds awkward, almost guilty. We had a meeting, he says. Diane called it the farmhouse problem. She wants to make life so expensive you'll give up and sell. The board votes to hike my fines to $500 a day. That's $182,500 a year, all because I won't turn my family's barn taupe. A week later, the lawsuit arrives. They want a court order to repaint the barn, tear out the fence, and if I refuse, force me to sell at fair market value. Diane calls my place an eyesore. I stare at the barn, peeling red paint, sunlight glinting off the roof, and I feel something shift. File the motion, I tell Marcus. Start discovery. I want everything. How they think they have any say over my land. Discovery turns up what I suspected. The 1985 deed, clear as day. My grandfather kept 15 acres, free from any covenants or restrictions. The developer drew the HOA boundary around it anyway, hoping nobody would notice. That's fraud. Marcus lights up. We'll get the lien tossed, the lawsuit dismissed, and then some. But then he drops the twist. You know that mortgage? Your family trust owns it. They owe you $180,000 in back payments. Suddenly, I'm not just fighting to save the barn. I've got the leverage to call the shots. So Marcus files a counterclaim, fraudulent covenant, harassment, abuse of process. And oh yeah, the plaintiff is the mortgage holder on all the HOA's common property. Within hours, Tom calls, emergency board meeting. The board is in chaos. Greg, another board member, reads the counterclaim, asks Diane if it's true. She denies it, but the board lawyer checks the records right there. Cascade Holdings is the lender. They're 12 months behind. Diane's face apparently goes pale. We can't pay. We don't have the money. 10 minutes later, Diane's on the phone, voice suddenly small. Can we talk? Now she wants to settle. I tell her my terms, drop the lawsuit, admit the covenant is bogus, remove the lien, pay the arrears. Diane protests. They can't pay $180,000. Then I foreclose, I say. They bring in their lawyer, try to talk their way out of it. I dig through their finances. HOA dues are more than enough to cover the mortgage, but the board is paying Diane's management company $4,500 a month. Landscaping, another $3,500, all to her son. She's funneling HOA money into her own businesses. Embezzling, plain and simple. Greg, Sarah, and Tom, board members, are stunned. They call a vote, and with a slam of the gavel, Diane's out. Removed for breach of fiduciary duty, misappropriation of funds. She grabs her purse, storms out, threatening to sue everyone on the way. We work out a settlement. My terms, basically, Diane to pay back what she took, HOA to restructure their payments, cut ties with her fake companies, and apologize publicly for the fraudulent lien. But Diane won't go quietly. She refuses, files for bankruptcy, claims she did nothing wrong. Their attorney quits. Conflict of interest, naturally. We move to foreclose. HOA scrambles, but the judge orders mediation. Greg and Sarah, now running the board, want to fix things. In the end, we settle. They acknowledge my land was never in the HOA. Remove all fines. Pay the arrears over 5 years. Diane, forced by the bankruptcy judge, pays $50,000 from selling a rental property. Her name is Mud, but the story isn't over. Greg and Sarah show up one afternoon with a box of documents they found in a storage unit Diane kept hidden. Inside, emails, contracts, and at the bottom, the smoking gun, a contract between Diane and a developer written months before she ever darkened my porch. Forcing me out was always the plan. She'd get a $100,000 finder's fee if the deal went through. Emails show her strategy. Escalate fines, file a fraudulent covenant, drag me into court, all to wear me down. She thought I'd break. She didn't count on me owning her mortgage. Marcus files to reopen the fraud case. This time we go to trial. The judge sees right through her. Intentional fraud, not just bad management. Diane loses hard. Forced to sell everything but her primary home. She pays me $150,000. The HOA sues the developer for conspiracy, wins a settlement. The prosecutor files criminal charges. Diane pleads down to a misdemeanor, gets probation and community service. So here I am, 3 years later. The barn is redder than ever. Flowers line the fence. Chickens roam the yard. The HOA is under new management. Dues are down. Everyone's happier. Property values have gone up. Turns out, people like living next to a piece of real history, not just another stretch of beige vinyl. Diane? She's working retail in another town, posting rants on Facebook that nobody reads. I see her once at the farmer's market. She can't even look me in the eye. I feel nothing. Not anger. Not pride. Just nothing. She's irrelevant. Here's what I learned. Power only gets you so far. The rules matter, but so does standing up for yourself, even when the odds seem stacked against you. I had leverage most people don't, but the real win was keeping the promise to my family, preserving what matters, standing my ground. Most folks in that HOA weren't bad, just trusting the wrong person. But when push came to shove, they set things right. Funny thing, these days, realtors use the old farmhouse as a selling point. Kids from a neighborhood come up the hill, ask about the chickens, the barn. I host farm tours. Homes in Meadowbrook Estates? Up 22% in value over 3 years. The barn isn't an eyesore. It's a landmark. And a lesson, if there is one, know what you own. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise, especially someone waving a leather folder, talking about taupe. Trust but verify. And if you find yourself facing down a power tripper with a clipboard, well, check the mortgage just in case. So let me throw this out there. Do you think justice was served? Where's the line between protecting a community and abusing power? And have you ever had to stand your ground against someone who thought the rules didn't apply to them? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Share your own stories. Who knows? Maybe you'll help someone else fight back too.